And we're starting Instagram. And currently, I have nobody. Because I am lonely and my camera won't focus. Maybe I'll get a follower to check out my Insta out of my 70 people that actually watch my channel. I sure hope so. Because, I mean, it is titled Instagram exclusive. So, but yeah, go follow my Instagram at LeopardMan102. That way you can actually be a part of the fun. If I ever get fun.
Hey everyone, how's it going? LeopardMan102 here, back with a new video. Today I'm sharing with you guys my top 5 favorite games of all time, with a few honorable mentions as well. Now, I have a couple rules. Okay, so a couple rules I have to get going. Number 1, graphics are not affiliated for these picks. It could be the world's most pixelated game, like on an Atari 2600, and it would still go. Number 2, the game doesn't necessarily have to have a story, it's just gotta be a game that I can enjoy. And any game goes. The only type that I would kind of consider excluding are board games. Oh, wait a sec. Those are, of course, excluded. We're talking video games. But for real, even mobile games could count on this, like some, which I do have one on my list. But I'm trying to show off the hard copies of games, except for one. So, let's get into the... Now, my number 5 spot has to be Super Mario 64. Ah, yes, Mario 64. A game that everyone who's a retro gamer, or maybe a kid who's grown up in the 90s, have known Mario 64 and loved it. Let me tell you my reasons of loving Mario 64. One of the pros I absolutely love are some of the gameplay mechanics. So like, for example, the running around, the jumping, being able to spam buttons. It does lead to some difficult movements sometimes, like Mario 64's BLJ, which, if you don't know what that is, that's little Mario there, having his own big-long jump, which is pretty cool. So on some of the stair sets, which I am not up to yet, you have this really long jumping, really long staircase that you can spam and go really fast through. A couple other glitches I've heard about are like some of the camera glitches and stuff, which are all pretty cool. Another thing I love are some of the levels. Let me show you guys what I mean. I'm not going to that one because that's like, it's eh. So, let me show you one of the levels though I do really like. That's not it, I'm dumb. I do like that one too though. But no, let me show you guys something that I absolutely love. One of the first levels you start on is right here. And let me show you what I mean by backtracking off to one of the bosses. Allow me to show you. So one thing I love first of all are some of the characters, like these little red bombs who are like so friendly, and there we go. Watch out, if you wander around here, you're liable to water bombs and stuff. No, it's really cool how friendly these little guys are. And I mean, seriously, how sick is it that you can shoot into a cannon? I don't know why, but it won't let me shoot in that one today. But some of the characters and some of the fights are really cool. Like the little mushrooms are really fun to fight as well because, well, they damage you, but you can easily come and just smash them to bits, and then you can easily regen your health if one does slip you up. Another cool character in some of these are the bombs. You're able to grab them and throw them, which, that's kind of fun. Another character that's really cool is the Chomp Chomp right here. He's got a pretty cool objective. You go over there and you step on it and it absolutely kills it, but no. I want to show you guys the boss and why it's so much fun to play this game. So let me get up there and I'll show you. One thing I absolutely love, One thing I absolutely love are the bosses in this game. They're so much fun. Your first boss is Bomb here, and he's like so much fun because you get to throw him around. Your goal with Bomb is to just throw him a few times, but the bosses are fun characters. Some of them can be pretty difficult, like when Mr. Bomb here is not in a good mood, he can throw you around as well. But that is something I really love. These fun levels with beautiful views and stuff is one of the reasons why I love playing Mario 64. Now, one thing I really don't like about Mario isn't even his own fault in his own game. It's the N64's problem. the frame rate will suddenly drop on you, and another thing that makes it even worse is the swimming mechanics suck. I mean, seriously, I do not like them. They are so confusing at times when your joystick acts up, and it's just so confusing. But when the frame rate drops as well, it makes the game even more difficult. And that leads me to another thing. Again, it's not the N64, or it's not the game's fault that it's like this. The fault is that the N64 itself having some quality issues because it ran on cartridge instead of disc, which was popular at the time. It was cheaper, so what do you think they did? They went for the cheaper route. And that also leads to the controls being buggy at times. I'm going to showcase my controller real quick and explain. So your joystick in an N64 controller, your joystick has this plastic bearing, so it makes it really awkward and difficult to play games with. Because that bearing, over the time, wears down, so your controller leads to, like, some of them able to wobble and wiggle like that. Another controller of mine that's even worse is my red controller. I'm not even touching it and it's acting up. So, like, that's the problem with the plastic bearings in the N64's problem. So this is why Mario 64 ranks where it is. Overall, it's a fun game to play, but sometimes just gets really old when you got all these glitches and stuff happening. Alright, off to the number 4 spot, let's mention Minecraft PlayStation 3 Edition. Except we're not mentioning the edition, we're just mentioning the game itself. Now guys, there's one game that I should mention that I'm pretty sure everyone has played at least once, and has probably played at least one edition of, and that is Minecraft. Now, I know that I showed you on my list that it was the PS3 version. Well, no. Actually, there is no favorite version for me as of right now, or if there is, comment down below, and I will make a video on it and figure out which version is my favorite. I must say, though, it doesn't matter what version of Minecraft you have. It is so much fun to play. You can play in creative, you can play in survival. I do have some complaints about Minecraft. For example, every time I play it on my computer edition, it seems to always be like, jeez, what's the right word to put it? Well, let's just say it is not always happy with me, and it will always sign me out, even though it says distinctly, keep me logged in. One thing I love about Minecraft in the newer editions anyway is all the updated features you get, like these really cool looking blocks. You have so many options. Now let's be honest, we all know that Minecraft is really well known for its options. And that is very true in this statement. Minecraft constantly gets updates and constantly gets more versions, and it's just so fascinating. Now this is a created version, my creative version, but there are so many different versions, like survival, hardcore, stuff that is so much fun that of course YouTubers are gonna make videos about it, and of course we guys as people who just love playing video games ought to give Minecraft a shot if you haven't. Or buy Minecraft, suck it up, buy the money, and play Minecraft. Because it is so much fun to play with all the different possibilities and options that I would easily suggest this game to anybody. I know, this was surprisingly quick. Let's be honest, there are some cons, like I said. The manager that it always signs me out even though I tell it not to. And one thing that just triggers me is in this keyboard and on this standard edition, when I double tap W, it does not sprint unless I do this. Then it will. So that is mildly upsetting. Another thing that is upsetting is if you're a console player, you've probably played Bedrock Edition. And let's be honest, guys, Bedrock Edition, at least when it first started, was not very good, and is not as solid as some of the other editions, like Pocket Edition or Java Edition. And I will be honest, guys, I have played Minecraft for years, so it might sound a little biased, same with Need for Speed 3 that will be coming up on later. But, no, for real. I do genuinely suggest this game to anybody. Alright, my number 3 video game that I enjoy playing all the time, probably too much, would be BGM Drive. Now, of course, I don't have a hard copy of it. Ah, yes, BGM Drive. Now, I know what a lot of you are saying. Oh my gosh, man, you play this game way too much. You might know me as a personal friend, and generally, when I'm on the phone with my friends, what game do I play? It's BGM Drive, but I have some good reasons. Now, not everybody knows what BGM Drive is. It's not a super popular game among players. Neither are some of the others on this list, but this one is probably the least popular of the group. BGM Drive is a really cool simulation game that's also got a whole ton of racing and a whole ton of different things with cars. Now, this game gets updated pretty frequently and has a base price of about $30 on Steam. Now, there already leads me to a couple cuts that I will take at the end and tell you about. But first, I want to say that this menu is amazing. Like, the background with the cars jumping in the back and stuff is really cool. Another cool thing is your mods. That's over in the repository section. If you take a look, there are so many mods here and even more available on the store itself. But I'm just going to grab one real quick because they are 100% free. So, I'm going to grab a car dealership because, I mean, it's a car dealership and I don't have one. So, it tells you right down here that it's installing, and I absolutely love that about it. You can filter in and out some of the things you do want or don't want. So if I don't want, let's say, air, props, boats, don't want any of that garbage, right? You know, don't want scenarios. Maybe I just want vehicles and sounds. There we go, vehicles and sounds. And you can also get cars from a separate game called Automation. People can upload those cars here, and people can try them out too. So it's really cool that you can get them on here. I really think that's really special. And then you can also take a look at your mods and say, I don't want, for example, I don't want the cardboard mod. I can deactivate the mod, or I can remove and unsubscribe for the mod. So no updates or anything, and it gets rid of, saves room on my computer. Or I can just remove the mod, deactivate it right now, so I won't have that feature in my game. But I can always come back to the mod section and get it later. You also have news, help, replays, and options, which are really cool as well. And then last but not least, you have credits and easy exit, easy menu. You also have so many different features in the game. You have time trials, free roam, scenarios, campaigns, bus routes, light runner and track builder, and a career coming soon. I'm excited for that. So we're just going to hop into free roam just so I can showcase some of the stuff. And as you can see, I already have some mods in here. So we're just going to go to a stock map. This is not a stock map. We're going to go to a stock map. This is called Cliff. They tell you what they're suitable for and stuff. I love how easy this game is. And it's also controller supported. So right now I'm playing with a third-party Xbox controller. And it works just fine. My only true complaint is the loading screens take forever in this game. But they're well worth the wait. Yeah. So this is why the game should be better known. The crash physics in driving. This is the stock vehicle you get in the game. And if you hit Q, you can change up your gearbox. So now I'm pressing buttons on my controller to shift it from drive and reverse. Or if I wanted to, for the beginner player, you can just hold the back button. But this leads to a problem. See, I'm holding my brake/reverse in arcade mode, and I'm down a hill. And look what it's doing. I can't fully stop. So if you're brand new, this might be a problem for you because, well, it's pretty buggy with that. And then you'd have to climb down the hill and try and get in reverse. And see, my game still won't let me get in reverse. Now, finally, I'm able to. But if you're trying to do quick time trials and stuff, maybe this is not the way for you to go. I'm going to pop it back in realistic. And another thing I want to share. The sound effects are spot on, and the crash physics are amazing. Another cool feature is I froze the physics right now, and if I hit my, oh, something's holding my tab down. If I hit Shift and C, I can look around freely at the map with its beautiful scenery in this one, and I can just let the camera fly. Goodbye, truck. Another cool thing I can do too is if I hit C to get back into my camera, I have an interior camera, I have a hood camera, external camera, and an orbit camera, which are also really cool. I can use the numbers on my keypad to change them up as well. So that's always sweet. And I can also hit Shift Alt, or is it Shift? I can hit Shift or FN and Alt down, or Alt down and the numpad buttons, and I can slow down my time. So right now we're in slow motion watching this crash. I can speed it up, I can slow it down, I can keep it normal. This is real time right now, we're slowing down a minute. You can also get so many different features in your car, so you can customize them with parts. You can save your own little mods in here, so I'll showcase one of mine real quick. This one is Altered Beast. This is a truck I made off the stock truck. But no, it is so much fun. The crash physics, the different sounds every vehicle makes, and your selection of vehicles too is actually really impressive. There are so many features that make this game well worth the money. And it's, like I said, only $30. Now, this does lead to some cons, like some maps, if they are modded, won't always work right. They will crash on you, and some of the cars will glitch after a while. But that's not always the game's fault. That's sometimes just poorly modded. Imports. Another cool thing is you can mess with your environment, and I absolutely love that. I can change the day and night settings. Don't worry, I have lights. You can exchange the wind speed, the cloud cover, and the fog density. You can also change up your gravity with different presets like moon gravity, which makes it so much fun to drive. Because, I mean, let's be honest, guys, this is fun. You can also change it to sun gravity, which is like real low to the ground, and it's like, you know, I don't know if my truck can drive on that. But no, there are so many cool features that make this game worth buying. Another couple things, the replay folder, which I'm not quite sure how to operate. You do have a camera mode as well, which is really handy. Just the amount of features in this game. And you also have something called Customize UI apps. It takes some getting used to, but you can add so much stuff. So I'm just going to hit exit. And you will see a texture glitch occasionally, but there are so many good things about it, especially your options as well. Now, let's talk about cons. Now, I do have some cons on the game as well. One of them being, like, how hard it is to actually play this game. It's not like video game systems where you can just openly get it and, like, be like, oh, sick, I got the game now. On this one, it's a PC exclusive, so it's it's got a very limited audience. And it's not just standard computers. You have to have beefy computers in order to play games like this, because if you don't, well, mayhem will strike. I'm being 100% honest. This is a modded car user, but that alone, sometimes your frame rate, I mean, even on my computer, guys, you have to have it so much more beefy than a normal computer, and it does get old on occasion when you have to constantly constantly upgrade or anything, or constantly get lag spikes like I do. It's not helping that I'm using a screen recorder right now, but you guys get the picture, right? So that's why this game isn't my most favorite, and some of the others I do have preferences on. But I do overall really like this game and would highly suggest it to someone with a PC, a Steam account, and a budget. Number 2 would have to be one game that I grew up with as a child. Burnout 2, Point of Impact, for Nintendo GameCube. That's this edition. Burnout 2. Now this is, again, a game that is not one of the most popular video games out there, but it's definitely a game I am a huge fan of. Now, there are multiple reasons why. Let's fast forward through the credits. Number 1, this music, though. Take a listen. Man, some beautiful things about Burnout. So, besides the music, there are just so many cool things about the game. Providing the game stays in. I better go check those cables, Chiefs. Let's go take a look. Oof. Okay, I think we're good now. Okay, well that was absolutely random and not supposed to be a part of the video, but it's gonna be anyway, because apparently I had to go fix the ports. These demos are also pretty sick, guys, let's be honest. But anyway, let's head back into the game a minute and I'll show you what I mean. So, that wasn't the game's fault, that was my fault for not plugging it in right. But mentioning some pros about the game. First of all, it's action-packed and like a plethora of features. So first of all, you have so many different championships and things you can do. Now, the first thing you have to learn is offensive driving. But it's pretty cool, and I'm not going to go through everything on here because it would take way too long of a time. But one of the best things I think Burnout II should be known for is its crashing mechanics. Now, I have every car unlocked in the game right now, and again, a huge selection of vehicles. I'm going to take one that's actually got a hidden feature with it. So, load screens as well, guys, are not bad at all in this game. Like, it's ridiculously pretty impressive. See? That was a full load screen. Now, let me show you the trick. So that was a normal launch, and then I can hold this down and floor it, right? Now let me show you a hidden trick that you can do with any vehicle, but this one does a special effect with it. Now this one can do wheelies, but every car can do the feature. It's pretty sick. And the crashing, guys, is what makes this game so enjoyable. The racing physics are cool too, but the crashing is where I tell people to get this game. Now, particularly, even though it's more expensive, the GameCube version is probably the best one to get because of the frame rate. The frame rate is the smoothest in the GameCube version, compared to the PS2 and Xbox versions, even though the GameCube was technically the least powerful system. Another cool thing is record holding. You can hold so many different records. Like, check that out. Me and my family play this game a lot. Controls are really easy, and you can learn how to do a lot of things in the game. As I messed that up completely. But you can learn how to do a lot of things in the game, like different tactics, how to drift. There's so much stuff. Now, that does lead me to a couple cons. This leads to multiple glitches as well, being one of the main causes of cons in the game. So, I got a car here. This is my in pursuit mode. Let me show you what I mean by really complex. So, how we have to do this is I have to get to the front of him first. So, you might notice that your objective is to just kind of nudge the car, right? Notice how we will move ahead of you at any chance he can get? Let me show you an interesting glitch. So, one of the glitches that can be fun but also annoying is I pulled out in front of him, right? Now, somehow his slower than mine vehicle, statistically proven to be slower, is now flooring it, right? Which can prove to be a bit of an issue, because now somehow that he's faster than me, see, he just revved out my vehicle. Now, if we chose a group of faster cars and I kept staying behind him, or in front of him, that's what happens. My car glitches out and I absolutely fly, which can be fun but also make the game more difficult. Another problem is if you don't go fast enough and hit a vehicle, I don't know how that worked, but generally if you're not going fast enough and still hit a car in this game, you will run into a slight issue. So if I'm trying to go into the crash mode and do this, let me show you what I mean real quick. Also, if you like drift and catch air and stuff, you can earn points. So let me show you something. So if you do manage to go slow enough, right, and can't quite go fast enough, you get stuck behind the car, no matter how fast or slow they're going. So if you're doing a crash mode and that happens to you, you're pretty much dead. The other thing is the tournament mode. One issue with the tournament mode in particular is in the Custom Series Championship, some of the maps are really hard if you don't have them memorized. And one of the hardest cars to get in this game is probably for the Custom Roadster. Because no matter how fast of a car you have, you don't have these two unlocked when you go to unlock it. Your fastest car is this, right? Well, let me show you how it is in the launch comparing to the Custom Roadster, the car you're fighting for. This is almost too difficult for anybody. I did the same launch he does. He flies by me entirely too easy. And if you mess up on one corner, it could jeopardize your whole mission. It gets really difficult after a while to play a video game like this and expect to win. It is taking me multiple tries and ages of practicing to finally win against this guy. It gets pretty hard. One handy thing though is since the controls are so nice and the frame rate's so smooth, you don't have to worry about too bad like it lagging out and hurting you and affecting your race. Generally, it's just trying to get past the corners, which is one of the hardest things. Or getting stuck into a wall, that sucks too. So that's why this game ranks where it does. Two is if you want to restart the tournament, you can't. You have to hit retire, and you lose points, and you lose a lot, and it sucks. And after a while too, in the tournament, you have a certain amount of points, right? So after this certain amount of points, I mean, you have the winner. Well, if you lose one race even against the others, it gets so hard to catch up after a while. So, just some facts and some pet peeves about the game that are really too bad. Now, 2 honorable mentions before we get to our number 1 spot. One of the honorable mentions would have to be Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4 for GameCube. Man, do I love this game. Can we be realistic here for just a moment that this intro in the Tony Hawk games is disturbing? Like, is that not just, like, the scariest thing you've ever seen? One cool thing is you're greeted to this pretty sick screen. There is a 2-player create escape mode. You can build parks, which is really handy. Again, a plethora of options for just a basic game. We're gonna hop over to a single session, and of course we're gonna take Tony Hawk. But before we do that, I should actually show you in the options menu, you have some pretty cool things. For example, you can turn on and off your blood. So if you're playing with someone who might be a little younger than you and you don't really know if you want them to see all the blood, that's a good way. Now, if only we could manage to, like, get rid of that start Neversoft screen. But no, let's go, and sadly, when you're just starting the game, you can only start to 1 or 2 places, even though, you can go to a couple others as well. So we're gonna go to Alcatraz just because, like, that's my favorite place to go in this game out of the 2 right now. Haven't really played the campaign, so I can't really say how much I love or hate the campaign. This is more of a game that me and my brother used to play when we were younger. Now you will notice the game instantly starts you off quick. And there's the blood. Funny story about that actually, when I was younger, me and my brother used to play this game when I was probably about 8. And when there was blood, because my brother never turned it off, of course, he would always say, "Don't worry, buddy, that's just juice." It was always kind of funny. Now, one thing I do love about the game too is even though the sound effects can get boring after a while, the game is it's always fun to turn back to. That was a nice little glitch, by the way. But it's always fun to turn back to a game like this and just enjoy myself. You know, it's pretty simple for the most part. And I do like this too. I can catch a ride with him sometimes. Guess I'm not gonna today. Now, there is so many different things you can do and learn. And in this menu alone, I mean, it's well worth it. Now, one thing that's pretty cool on this map in particular is once you get down... No, I didn't want down here. There's one place I gotta find, and I will showcase it to you and show you the pretty cool feature. When you fall off the map, it's pretty funny. Second of all, this area right here is pretty cool. This wasn't necessarily where I was gonna show you guys. That's over this way, I think. So after some surprisingly complex crap, I gotta find the way, but there's a really cool area that's got a cool little secret trick. Oh yeah, you also have like this really cool area over here, and people who you can randomly run off. I don't know what the timer's for. I have no idea what that timer was about. Wait, what? Oh man, I got a high score, okay. Anyway, one cool thing you can do is once we try and resume. It's not letting me resume, guys. What? 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 Dude, I hit start to get back in the game and it brought me to another map. That's one complaint I do have is sometimes like the controls themselves are kind of difficult. Or you just randomly get these kind of dumb glitches. One thing I do like or don't like about this map in particular is how limited the feeling is. It feels like I'm not in an open world exploring. It really feels like I'm in a boxed area that I'm not allowed to use. Or in a boxed area that I can't ever escape from. Which does honestly kind of drive me nuts. Another thing too is like since you're automatically going no matter what, if you can't take a sharp enough turn, so if you're in like a narrow area and you get stuck, that sucks. Because then you have to like figure out how the heck you're gonna get out of it because you hit all these bumps and it kind of messes with you after a while. And I gotta be honest, some of these tricks I've never heard of, and it brings up complexities. Like, I don't actually know what half of these tricks this game mentions are. I'm not saying I'm like a best skater who should know everything, because I don't. I'm a new skater, but like, in real life. But, it's weird. And let me show you what I mean by the feeling of limitedness. So instead of making this beautiful background like they did in Alcatraz, it kind of looks like they just randomly threw it together and called it a day using the skating editing software, like just the editor. Because, I mean, let's take a look at these backgrounds a minute. Once I get myself unstuck again. And that's another thing. So, up here, for example, I mean, all you have is just this. Just this fence and nothing that leads past it, and it feels bland, it feels basic, it feels upsetting. It doesn't really feel like a lovely, really fun map to play. It doesn't feel like it's worth your while. It just feels like it limits you from other video games. But the voice acting when you fall is kind of funny. Take a listen. It's not talking to me. That's another thing, the plethora of glitches, guys. Options. I don't know why, but it's trying to have me do high scores. So, anyway. Another honorable mention I would have to mention is Hot Wheels Velocity X. Now, of course, mine's a GameCube edition, and you might be thinking, why this game? Because it's so buggy. Here is a game that can be great at sometimes, or a pain in your butt that isn't worth playing in others. So right now, I'm trying to get the game load up, and it's taking forever, right? Now, let me enhance the sounds a little bit and show you what I mean. So, this game, keep in mind, came out in the early 2000s when the Pimp My Ride and stuff was so famous, right? I think it was around that time anyway. You can very tell that they use their very futuristic themes and stuff. The story itself I've played is very, very, very cringy. You know, it might have been great for a 10-year-old who didn't really care, but nowadays, as a standard game to play, it can be really iffy, and it's like cartoons and stuff. So, one thing I have to say that's very solid is the frame rate is beautiful. Could be just the GameCube, but like the frame rate is beautiful. Now this is cheesy. In case you didn't hear that, let me turn it up. Listen to these sound effects and then listen to the voice. Now let me show you the cheesy as heck voiceover. Listen to this.
Look, here's the cash in the car, but I don't have the discs, like, on me. I was told to take them over to the refinery, and Turbine says, take it or leave it, I'm out of here.
It figures that Nitro lied about having the discs. That lugnut deserved having his sorry tailpipe handed to him in that race.
I guess he wasn't the real brains behind this operation.
Nitro wouldn't know real brains from a radiator. But it makes sense that someone else cooked up the scheme with the bombs. I've been tracking him since you...
Now, your selection of vehicles is pretty cool, and over time some of them are great. One I especially want to unlock is Twin Ball 2. Which I can't get right now because it needs the Game Boy Advance version. I'm very triggered by that. The cool thing about the game is once you decide to figure out what vehicle you want, you can give it any feature you want. One of my personal favorites is probably Sonic Boom, even though I decided to go for the laser cannon. The loading screens are they're okay, but like I said, some of the pros in the game are great. like the good physics, the fun action-packed adventures, but some of the cons in the game are the really, really cringy voiceovers and the really, like, almost terrible controls. Not the controls themselves, but the arrows to follow said controls are very last minute and will tell you to go places you don't know how to get to. Then you also have your R2 and L2, which aren't actually the names of them. It's more like your Z and R, if I'm not mistaken. And the problem with these is, like, you can randomly shift your vehicle into a different direction. So if it's not on purpose and you accidentally hit that, you're dead meat, man. That's also a triggering thing. The timing in this game is really intimidating. Not as intense as in some games I've seen, but it is pretty intense. And another problem with the game is just how glitchy it can be. I personally haven't had this main issue yet, but I know some people who have. You can look it up on some YouTube videos. It's pretty cringy. Also, when you're playing the game, it feels almost very rushed in the way it was built and set up, or a very cheap budgeted game. Like, the controls, it's a pain to figure out what my reverse is. So, to make things easier, I'm just going to hold B and A and get out of there. But it's got also a very almost pimp my ride, like those big spinners and stuff. It's got that feeling on the other cars. Not even the Hot Wheels, but it's just got that feeling all around the place. I don't know though. That's just like a little bit of me saying it does, but like at the same time, it doesn't feel that bad. Let me show you something fun. Once you figure out your controls, which can be great, but also can be a pain. Let me show you something you can do. You can bash the cars out of the way. See, he got me stuck. And that can lead to some problems. So, overall, it's a pretty decent game that I would suggest. Finally, the #1 spot you've all been waiting for. It would have to go to Need for Speed 3 Hot Pursuit on PS1 and PC. Now, there are so many reasons Need for Speed 3 is like one of my favorite games of all time. #1, the game itself has some really, really, really fun racing. So, like, all the different modes, for example, we're going to showcase the different modes. There are so many different modes to choose from, and they are so much fun, each and every one of them. The only one I'm not 100% familiar with yet is Knockout. But let me show you. You have single race, you have hot pursuit, you have tournament, you got knockout, you got practice, which is really cool. So you got really cool modes. So probably the best known one on here is hot pursuit mode. Tournament is really good and knockout's pretty good too. But let's go hop into one real quick and I will showcase why I love the game so much. First of all the maps you get. Now I don't have mine saved right now, so my Lost Canyons is not on here. But there are so many. Hometown, Red Rock Ridge, Atlantica, Rocky Pass, Country Woods, Lost Canyons, Aquatica, The Summit, Hometown. I mean, seriously, these are all great maps. And with so many options on what you want to do, it is insane. You can random stuff. You can learn about tracker info, records. There's so much selection on this game. And the amount of cars is really good, too. Keep in mind, this game came out on the PS1 in 1998. Take a look. We got the Corvette, the Countach, the Nazca C2, the 555 Manarello, Diablo SV, XJR15 Jaguar, CLK GTR Mercedes, and a 355 F1 to top it all off. So many cool cars, and you can add so many different things to these cars. One of the coolest things about it is, if you guys didn't know, the Italicized Nazca C2 was a BMW concept car in the 90s. So that's not a thing everyone knows, and you can also compare cars. There are just so many features that make this game so worthy that it's not even funny how many there are. Also choose how much traffic you want with 3 options, minimum, medium, and maximum, which make it really fun as well. And you can also add 1 or none to the amount of cars unless you're doing a full race, then you can have full grid. You can choose literally any car for them that's not marked with a circle. These two you have to win in tournaments, and the Ferraris are only available in race mode. So we'll give our opponent a Nazca C2 with some medium traffic, and let me showcase, guys, the mode. Let me showcase the hot pursuit, because it's pretty much the same thing as a race. These backgrounds, too, are, like, really cool. They showcase the car, and it makes it look really, really cool. Oh, you also might know that the audio has changed throughout this video, and that is because I'm recording off a phone. So, because my camera died. But It is really cool on all the different features. You got really simple controls and analog input, which is so much fun. I mean, just look at this. And these backgrounds and views are so pretty on this game. It really looks nice on a CRT TV. Now, I do have a couple complaints about this game as well. The fact that your frame rate is very unpredictable at times. Right now it's being good, but sometimes when you hit a car or something, it really lags. Like right there. It gets really hard to play sometimes when it lags so bad. But that brings me to another pro of the game. The police are so much fun. They say really funny lines depending on what map you're on, and they're just overall a really good experience. Crashes are fun too. See, and the opponents and everything, all the game modes have this. Let's hop into some cons real quick. One thing I really don't like about the game are how long the tournaments are. Now, as you can see right here, you can't really tell on physically how long these tournaments are until you start playing them. There are probably a good 10 races in each tournament. But one cool thing that you can do in the game is insert so many different cheat codes. If you go online right now, you will find at least 10 different cheat codes on what you can do. There's so many hidden maps and features that aren't even on the main game itself, on the main screen. So, this is definitely my favorite game, just because of all the fun stuff you can do, not to mention split screens. In summary, I would highly suggest this game to anybody. Now guys, that was my top 5 list of favorite video games. If you guys liked any game on the list and thought that was very interesting, go take a look at different sites like eBay, or go check your local game store, or flea market, or garage sale, or thrift store. I mean, literally the possibilities to find these games are endless nowadays. Except for Mario 64, that one you're not going to find in the blue unless you're desperate. I don't know why I said that. You're not going to find it unless you go on eBay and cough up a whole ton of money. Which, speaking of which, I guess my monthly rent for Mario 64 is due. Alright, 20 and 40. That should cover it for this week's monthly mortgage rate of keeping up with Mario 64. Oh, I'm due again? Alright, guess I gotta pay it one more time, guys. It's been a month. This game just keeps ripping me off. So guys, in summary, these are games that I would highly suggest to anybody who's either A, just bored and not really sure what to add to their collection, or B, games that you are truly looking for to have a good time with. These are top pick games, including the honorable mentions. But those are my favorite games, and remember guys, these are just opinions. So anyway, thank you so much for watching, and have a good night. Number 1. Wait, what were my rules again? Okay, I need to write this crap. Good thing is, guys, I got rid of that game a long time ago, because let's be honest, that game, the controls themselves are nightmare fuel. What the? I'm so screwed, the game keeps coming back. I threw it out of here, I think I'm safe.